This is something that's pretty important now. And what I don't seem to understand, now that people see what Texas has done for the rights of women, not talking about voting rights yet. We'll talk about that some other time. What I want to focus on now is I don't understand, now that women across this country really see what the GOP, the Republican Party, what they are really all about, which is just about power. And now that women are literally being thrown under a bus with respect to the rights of abortion. It's beyond belief, in my opinion, as to how any woman, rich, poor, white, black, Latino, Latina, did I say Latino or Latina? Or maybe that's a Freudian slip for gender. I have a sense of humor. But Latina, black, Asian, white, indigenous, Native American, but now particularly white, and especially white, rich white people. I don't know how any woman, after this past week, seeing what the GOP is really about with respect to women, I don't know how any woman can ever vote for a Republican for the rest of your life. Think about it. Voting Republican is so clearly against, it's like voting against your own personal interests. It's voting against the personal interests of your mom, your grandmother, your sister, your daughter, your granddaughter, your great-granddaughter. It's voting against the interests of every female that you interact with, every female that you love, every woman, every girl. And I don't know how the GOP can, brainwash women to vote against your own interests. That's what's going on right now. Forget about what Mitch McConnell did by railroading some very narrow-minded, unqualified justices in the Supreme Court. That Amy lady is not qualified, and Brett is a predator. Kavanaugh, whatever his name is. And Gorsuch, well, he's a rubber stamp stooge for the Republican Party. So you got 3 unqualified justices that this week clearly showed, as Justice Sonia Sotomayor said, it's stunning. It's stunning. Justice Thomas is that House Negro. The House Negro and the Field Negro. Let's talk about it real quickly. That's the guy during slavery time when there was revolt. The Field Negro will come into the house and say, hey, come on, we got to go. It's time to go. And the House Negro says, go where? I got it good, man. I live in the attic, in the basement. I get 3 meals a day. And he would even call his master as himself. So when his master was sick, as Malcolm X said, he would go, we sick, boss? We sick? That's the House Negro. The Field Negro said, it's time to go. And ran. We could talk about more of that another time. But Justice Thomas is a House Negro. And now Chief Justice Roberts is realizing what a bunch of lapdogs he has with him. And he had to go with the minority. And forget about Alito. He's a bigoted Italian from New York and New Jersey. So you got those 2 guys joined with rubber stamp Gorsuch, predator Kavanaugh, and unqualified Amy. And you have a disgustingly unqualified Supreme Court of the United States. Thank goodness for Sonia Sotomayor. Thank goodness for Linda Kagan and Justice Breyer. And now Justice Roberts is saying, my goodness, Anthony Kennedy, why did you retire? And what a shame that the saintly Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. Not only when she passed away, but when she passed away, the timing of it. How horrible to replace Ginsburg with a Amy. I'm going to call her Amy. I don't even want to use her last name. But anyway, that Supreme Court justified getting rid of Roe v. Wade. Texas figured out a way to gut Roe v. Wade on a roundabout backyard way. And women support it. That's what's shocking, and that's my point today. Women, how can you support this? Why aren't you thinking about your daughter, your cousin, your sister, your neighbor? Why? Why aren't you thinking about it? I mean, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with the women of this country? And there are other reasons why a woman should not vote GOP. But this one is so flagrant and so obvious that it's just amazing. And I'm looking you right in the eye, women, listening to this. Stop. Read a book. Learn the history. Learn what the suffragists really were. Understand the fact that it wasn't until 1918 that the women got the right to vote in this country. Think about that. Try to understand what the GOP is all about, the grand old party, the Republican Party. And it's not about Trump. Forget Trump. He's a thug. He's a thug and a scumbag. So forget him. It's the enablers around him. It's the Mitch McConnells. It's the Kevin McCarthys. Prior to that, it was that guy from Wisconsin, Ryan, Gutless Ryan. And it's the Lindsey Grahams. It's the House Negro Tim Scott from South Carolina. It's a disgrace. And right now, Texas, it's like Texas-Afghanistan or Texas Taliban. I know that sounds extreme, but think about it. Women have no rights under the Taliban. And now Texas has totally literally ripped your fallopian tube, your uterus, your body, your decision. It's not going to stop abortion. Abortions will always happen. What Roe v. Wade did, it saved lives to allow healthy, monitored, safe abortions. Now, the rich people, they'll leave Texas and have an abortion in Colorado or New Mexico. But the poor Texans are going to have this baby. This law is despicable. We can go on and on about it. But the key point that I wanted to espouse today is that if you need any more proof that every woman listening to this should never, ever vote Republican again because it's strictly voting against your interest, your daughter's interest, your sister's interest, your mama's interest, your grandmother's interest, your granddaughter and great-granddaughter's interest. When you vote, you're supposed to vote for your interests. What helps you? Think about it.